course, a lot of you know that I'm a consumer advocate focusing on unethical bank behavior, particularly whenever a bank underbanks or unbanks an entire community. I lost my job in 2018 whenever my bank in Las Cruces, New Mexico closed down, leaving thousands of people severely underbanked and leaving only one location for a metro area of about 200,000 people in this particular county. So it's something that I take very, very personally. Working in banking in New Mexico for the better part of 13 years, I am familiar with how major banks treat smaller communities. A lot of these banks are closing down in the last decade as digital migration happens, and a lot of people tend to use online banking for a lot of stuff. And it's to be expected, of course, with the advances of technology. There are still some community banks that just need to be there. And what I'm going to be talking about today is something that I hold near and dear to my heart because I know exactly the impact that it's going to have in that community. Recently, a Twitter follower at BankBetterGuy on Twitter let me know that Bank of America was closing their branch on 1006 Aztec Avenue in Gallup, New Mexico. Now, if you're from New Mexico, you already know about Gallup. Gallup is a very diverse community. Tons of Native American folks, tons of Hispanic folks. Not to mention, there's a lot of people who have a lot of money in Gallup. It's a melting pot community, and it's one of the things that makes New Mexico unique. Well, apparently Bank of America thinks that Gallup is not worthy of Bank of America anymore because it let its customers know via filing from the OCC that they're closing down that branch. And there's a flyer that's available to any customer that goes inside that branch in Aztec Avenue that basically lets them know that, hey, they're closing down. And I'm going to read it right here. So basically it says, "Thank you for being a valued client." Oh, I like how they throw that in there. "This message is to update you on the different options available for you to manage your finances." You know, they got to thank you, first of all, because they're about to just break your heart. It says, "Please note that the nearby financial center you may have visited in the past where you opened your account at 1006 Aztec Avenue in Gallup will close on Tuesday, February 15, 2022. For your convenience, ATM services at this location will remain open. Your account will stay the same, and we will have specialists ready to provide you with the advice and guidance you need." And then it mentions that you can locate the nearest bank by going on the website or calling a 1-800 number. Now, here's the thing here. We all live in this community where we know a lot of people. Doesn't matter what race you are, what age you are, that some people just don't use the internet for certain things, okay? Some people like to do things the old-fashioned way. That's kind of the charm of New Mexico, and that's, you know, sometimes that's kind of a hurdle that we face over here. But one of the things that I learned about in, 13 years of working in banking is especially people who only have a fixed income, who only get a $700 a month Social Security check on the first of the month. You know, a lot of people make wisecracks about the first of the month being payday. Well, for a lot of people, that's the only money that they have. And in a place like my former hometown of Socorro, New Mexico, where there were a lot of Native American people who would flock to banks on the first of the month, that was their day to go to the bank. Now, when you go to a town like Gallup, where there's exponentially more Native American folks who more than likely live on a fixed income, hell, a lot of people don't even have running water in that part of the country. They're no longer going to have their bank in order to get their money into their account, from their account. It's ridiculous. Now, here's the thing that really sets me off, because I know this personally from my experience working at Bank of America in Las Cruces. They mentioned that the ATMs are going to remain in that location, but they don't say permanently. No, what's going to happen is 6 months from now, a year from now, they're going to put a sign on the ATMs saying, "Oh yeah, we're removing the ATMs too. So if you want to continue to bank with us, you're going to do it on our terms. You're going to have to use the app. You're going to have to use online banking and mobile banking in order to continue banking with us the way that you do." Here's the thing. In communities like Gallup, New Mexico, there's some places far off the beaten path where internet access is not a thing, where cell phone service is not a thing, where being able to check your bank account requires a trip to the bank. And for a lot of people who go there on the first of the month to get their money, that is their only interaction that they have with a financial advisor. That's the only time that they're going to get to talk to someone in a jacket or a dress shirt like that. And that's the thing that really, really pisses me off about it. And I know Bank of America, if it gets in the news and someone calls Bank of America and says, "Hey, we'd like to know why you're closing the Gallup branch at 1006 Aztec Avenue," a Bank of America spokesperson is going to say, Well, so many customers are relying on digital capabilities anymore. We feel that closing the branch was in our best interest because we have trained our customers to use the mobile app and to use online banking for all of their services. They've never seen a pickup truck full of 7 Native American family members, all of them going to get their money on the first of the month and then going to Walmart to buy groceries for the month, going to, pay their bills on the first of the month because they waited all month to pay their bills. They're not going to have that experience of standing in line getting their money out. Yes, and I know what you guys are saying. Oh, there's ATMs everywhere. There's ATMs at Walmart. You can get it out. But of course, without a network fees, with all the other fees that people charge, that's taking money out of their pocket. Whenever they have fraud or a financial issue, they do not have a person in a sport coat and a dress shirt to talk to whenever they have a financial issue. That's going to be gone now. The nearest Bank of America from Gallup is going to be where? Farmington, which is a couple hours away, Albuquerque, which is a couple hours away. They're going to be a day's trip away from financial help. Is this the 1850s? Are they on horseback? No, it's ridiculous, and it's severely underbanking a very important community to the state of New Mexico, particularly to these communities who do not have the luxury of dealing with a smartphone, who do not have the luxury of dealing with high-speed internet access. A lot of people don't have running water, like I said, in some of these places still. And yeah, that's a small subset of people. That's not the majority. That's a very minor part of life in the western part of New Mexico. But it's still there. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The fact that Bank of America has the guts to close this branch, which I know from my 13 years of working at Bank of America in New Mexico to be one of the busiest, if not the busiest Bank of America in New Mexico, if not the entire Western region, is ridiculous to me. Yes, it's not the type of business that they like. It's a bunch of transactional stuff like taking out $700 once a month for one customer. But there are still thousands of people who rely on that. There are still thousands of people who need that basic transaction done. The reason why Bank of America is closing is not because of the conversion to digital, although they can lie to you and say, hey, we showed our people to log in 2 times to their app and we consider them a digital convert. That's a bunch of BS, okay? So basically what's going to happen is those people are never going to have financial access anymore. And the reason why this branch is closing is they don't want to be a service bank. I've heard that said to me before. I've told my bosses that we don't want to be a service bank. We want to be a sales bank. There's not going to be sales for the bankers in Gallup, New Mexico, whenever someone has a $700 a month income. There's no new accounts. There's no investment products. They're not going to buy a home. They're not going to buy a vehicle. So why the hell do you ditch them? They still need help. Despite the fact that they're not lining your pockets with, stuff going towards your sales goal, there are people who still need help. There's a lot of times whenever I was in my office and I knew that I wasn't getting a damn thing from the person across from me. I'm not getting a new account. I'm not getting a home loan or something. They just needed help. The one time that they get a chance to talk to someone like me, a banker, about their financial needs, whenever their financial needs are very minimal when it comes to the grand scheme of things and the $10 billion a quarter profit that Bank of America has, yeah, it feels insignificant, but it's the world for that person. And I don't know the population of Gallup, New Mexico, McKinley County, and the Navajo Nation in general. There's a lot of people there. There are tons of people there. There's a lot of money collectively, a lot of revenue to be had for a place like Bank of America, but they just deem it just not worth their time anymore. The fact of the matter is they're closing this branch on 1006 Aztec Avenue. ATMs are going to remain. Most people won't even get the letter or won't even open the letter notifying them of the closure. Most of them won't even see the flyer in the bank saying that this bank's going to close. And in February 2022, whenever that branch closes, it's going to be with a whimper because it's the middle of the month and no one's going to be there. But come March 1st, they're going to drive into town. They're going to go to Aztec Avenue, go to that Bank of America. They're going to see signs that say this bank is permanently closed. They're going to try to open the door and it's not going to open. And despite the fact that they hold a debit card in their hand, which the bank forced them to get, by the way, they're going to be like, I wonder if my check's in there. I wonder what happened to my money. And yes, I know people can change banks whenever the hell they want, but the fact of the matter is, it's a conversation that the bank is not having with those people that are going to impact those customers in a few months. My name is James, the Notorious Banker, and I'm very pissed about this, and I'd love to talk to you more about it. Please follow me on Twitter at BankBetterGuy, and we'll do so.